Hello friends, welcome to a new happy learning video. Today we are going to learn what an earthquake is and why it is caused. Did you know that the floor we walk on lies over gigantic rocky plates that look like a jigsaw puzzle and are called tectonic plates? These plates float over magma, an extremely hot material that is found in liquid or viscous form because of its tremendously hot temperature. These plates have great cracks separating them, called plate boundaries, and this is where all seismic movements or earthquakes originate from. And depending on the movement that they make, they can produce different effects. When the tectonic plates shift in opposite directions, they are called divergent plate boundaries, and the magma rises towards the surface, cools down and dries. Then a new floor is formed, like these islands you can see here. When the tectonic plates bump into each other, they are called convergent plate boundaries and form a collision area where new mountains or mountain ranges like the Himalayas or Alps are formed. They can also trigger volcanoes and earthquakes. When tectonic plates slide sideways or along the plate boundary, they are called transform plate boundaries, and they are responsible for seismic movements. When they rub against each other, they rotate and create friction that in some cases can result in catastrophic earthquakes. Earthquakes can be more or less severe. The weakest earthquakes can hardly be felt, but unfortunately, some of them are very violent and cause great disasters, destroying buildings, roads, schools. Entire cities have been destroyed after some earthquakes. In an earthquake, we can differentiate two parts: the hypercenter, which is the point in the earth where the earthquake originates from, and the epicenter, being the point on the earth's surface vertically above the hypercenter. This point is where the earthquake is most intense and the greatest damage is caused. We also call earthquakes seisms, and the people who study these are called seismologists. On Earth, there are more than 2,000 observatories that study and follow earthquakes up close. Actually, each year, there are thousands and thousands of earthquakes being registered, but the great majority are so small we can hardly feel them. The seismograph, or seismometer, is an instrument used to measure the earthquake's intensity. Invented in 1842 by the Scottish scientist James David Forbes, it measures the seismic waves that earthquakes cause. Over time, these instruments have been perfected to the point that some can measure earth tremors as small as one that Daniela can cause by jumping. Look! Funny, huh? Goodbye, friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Happy Learning TV.
Search us and subscribe to Happy Learning's YouTube channel.
Hello friends, welcome to a new Happy Learning video. Today we're going on a fascinating journey to the very centre of the Earth. Today we're going to learn about the geosphere. The geosphere is the most solid part of our planet. Yes, it includes the Earth's surface and everything that lies beneath it to the very centre of the Earth. It is extremely important because it is here where life develops. A part of the geosphere is under the oceans, forming the wonderful seabed. and the other part rises to the surface, forming the continents and islands. But there is much more to the geosphere that meets the eye, and in the depths of our planet, many interesting things take place. Did you know that if we were to drill a hole to the very centre of the Earth, we would have to dig more than 6,000 kilometres deep? It's incredible. It would be immense. The geosphere is made up of 3 concentric layers, called the crust, the mantle, and the core. Let's get to know them. The crust is the most shallow and thinnest layer of the geosphere. It is like the skin of our planet. Many things live on it. Even animals that live underground, like these earthworms. Remember that the sea floor is also part of the crust. There is a very special layer called the lithosphere, which contains the crust and the upper mantle. Lithosphere means stone sphere. As well as being very hard and rigid, the lithosphere is also fractured, as if it were broken into pieces. The famous tectonic plates are part of the lithosphere. By the way, did you know that these plates move? Yes. They float on a semi-liquid surface and sometimes collide with each other or collapse. When this happens, it causes earthquakes, tsunamis, and even impressive mountains like these can appear. But of course, mountains don't form overnight. This happens very slowly and over thousands of years. The mantle is the middle layer of the geosphere and is located below the crust. It is the thickest layer, estimated to be about 3,000 kilometers long. Temperatures in the mantle are so high that the rocks and materials that form it are semi-molten like cheese. Can you imagine how hot it is? When the molten rocks from the mantle seep between the tectonic plates and come to the surface of the Earth, volcanoes erupt. That incandescent liquid you can see coming out the mouth of this volcano is molten rock, magma. Isn't it amazing to see what's going on in the layers of the Earth? Just wait and you'll see. The innermost layer of the Earth is the core. It is made of iron and other metals like nickel and silicon. And it is very, very hot, with a temperature of 6,000 degrees Celsius. It's more or less the same temperature of the sun. Could you imagine anything like it? A small sun inside the Earth. I can't believe it. It's amazing.
Wow.
As you can see, underneath our feet, in the geosphere, super interesting things are happening. It's so cool to learn new things. Goodbye, friends. See you in the next video.
Search us and subscribe to Happy Learning's YouTube channel.
Hello friends! Welcome to a new Happy Learning video. Look at these images. Wow! What a tall mountain! Hey, And what a cool island! Ah, and how dizzy! That's quite a cliff! It even has a small waterfall. All this that we have seen are relief elements. But what exactly is a relief? As you can see, the shapes of the Earth's surface are not always the same. Sometimes the terrain we see is super flat. Other times it is more undulated with hills and mountains, and others are surrounded by seas like this island. Well, that is the relief, the different shapes that the surface of the Earth has, including the bottom of the sea. As the Earth is very, very large, to study the relief, we have divided it in two types: inland relief and coastal relief. The differences between one and the other is pretty obvious, don't you think? The inland relief is, as its name suggests, the one that is in the interior and has three forms of relief. The mountains, which are great elevations of land. Valleys, which is the land located between the mountains, like the ones where these cows live. And the plains, that are, as its name suggests, great extensions of very flat land. Plains are rather plain. It's a trick to remember. The coastal relief is the one that is next to the sea. That is to say, on the coast. In it, we can find beautiful beaches where we can see these rowdy seagulls. We can also see high cliffs, a group of islands full of palm trees known as archipelagos, and many other forms of reliefs. Now, let's review. Relief is the different shapes of the Earth's surface, including the seabed. We can divide it into two types of relief: inland relief, such as mountains, and coastal relief, such as beaches. But before we say goodbye, on behalf of Happy Learning, we want to tell you that you have to take care and protect nature. We have already seen how beautiful the mountains, valleys, beaches, and all forms of reliefs are. But sadly, many times we find them full of garbage and dirt. So please recycle everything you can. Do not throw plastic or any kind of waste on the ground, and pollute as little as possible. Nature and all living beings on Earth will thank you for it. Goodbye, friends. Until the next video.
Search us and subscribe to Happy Learning's YouTube channel.
Hello friends, welcome to a new Happy Learning video. We're going to stride across the land. We're going to climb mountains and hike along endless plains. We're going to go to the edge of the planet and hop from one island to another, today we're going to get to know its relief. The relief is much more than a geographic book full of maps and colors. Relief is this. Look, it's nothing more or less than all the different landforms of the Earth's surface. These shapes that you can see are the result of millions and millions of years of work by internal and external agents. The internal agents are the movements that take place inside the Earth when tectonic plates move together and separate, modifying the Earth's crust. And the external agents, on the other hand, can be rain, wind, or waves that crash, wearing down and even remodeling the land until they create these huge cliffs. Yes, the relief has many forms, and to get to know them, we are going to divide them in two groups: inland relief and coastal relief. Inland relief is that which is not in contact with the sea. Here we can find mountains, plateaus, valleys, and plains. The mountains, which are large elevations of land, sometimes rise so high that they are lost in the clouds. The mountains, depending on how they are grouped together, form mountain ranges or ranges of hills. This one you see is the Andes Mountains in South America, where this family of llamas live. Hey guys, is it cold up there? Mountains sometimes wear down and form plateaus. That is, flat surfaces that are at a high altitude. Like the plateau of Ronda, that looks like a city perched on a mountain, doesn't it? Between mountains lie valleys, which are usually very fertile because it is where the rivers flow through. And these that you can see here are plains, which, as their name suggests, are large flat areas. The plains are perfect for growing crops, raising livestock, or for running around. The coastal relief is found in the areas closest to the sea. Here we find beaches, cliffs, peninsulas, capes, gulfs, and look, this sandcastle is pretty cool, isn't it? Cliffs are high, rocky terrains where the land meets the sea. For example, the famous cliffs of Dover in England. Have you seen how white the rocks are? They look like they've been painted. In the coastal relief, we also find peninsulas, which are areas surrounded by the sea on all sides except for one. The piece of land which joins to the continent is called an isthmus. The Iberian Peninsula, where Spain and Portugal are located, is one of my favorites. Capes are areas of land that enters the sea. They look like unfinished bridges, don't they? Gulfs are just the opposite of capes and are formed when the sea enters the land. See the difference? Gulf, cape, Gulf, cape. See it? But before we finish talking about coastal reliefs, we must mention islands. They are portions of land completely surrounded by water. Archipelagos is what we call many islands in a cluster. The Japanese archipelagos, for example, has 6,852 islands.
Wow!
That's a lot! Let's review what we have learnt. Relief is the set of landforms on the Earth's surface. We can divide it into two groups, inland relief and coastal relief. Inland relief has mountains, plateaus, valleys, and plains. Coastal relief has beaches, cliffs, peninsulas, capes, gulfs, islands, and archipelagos. Have you noticed how varied our Earth's reliefs are? The next time you see a physical map full of green and brown colors, remember that each of these relief shades refers to a different landscape, a place that nature has shaped over a long, long time so that we can take care of it, respect it, and enjoy our wonderful planet. Goodbye, friends. Until the next video.
Search us and subscribe to Happy Learning's YouTube channel.